Hello, greetings and welcome in everyone. Hello. My name is Harrier Citadel, avian alien sentinel of Fort Misthaven, perpetrator of creative chaos, general maker of things, and currently sitting with the sniffles. Hello! Welcome in. Hello, Sushian. Thank you for the save. I have hit the save button. Preemptively. How is everyone doing? How are you all doing? Yes, I caught a cold, I think, or whatever bug it was that my family have since last week that finally struck me in the wee hours of this morning. But yes, we are mostly intact, and we are ready to keep on doing our challenge things. I hope everyone else is doing a little bit better than I am in that front anyway. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're keeping healthy. Yes, I did dose up on my vitamin C's. I have water with me, which reminds me that we need to switch on our timer for the first time around before we go anywhere. You sound so incredibly sick. Why are you not resting? I sound sicker than what I feel, honestly. Legitimately, I'm just sneezing and my throat hurts a bit. It's like, aside from that, it's a normal Monday. It's legitimately just a normal Monday. It's just with inconvenient orifices. That's legitimately the difference. We're okay. But yes, we are here. We are continuing our challenge things. And yes, I am snuggled up, making sure that I'm not having weird, crazy temperature shifts. So yay. And we are continuing our redraw of this 2016 artwork of the great KAITO. Or now just Kryptonloid. I don't know anymore what they're called. The Peer Pro characters, right? So Toaster, welcome in. We have not touched a thing. You are the second person to save this day. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. I've not touched anything, but as soon as I do touch something, I'm gonna hit the save button for you, I promise. But yes, we are continuing the redraw. I have managed to find and replace the umbrella and extract lines. That is all I have done on this Toaster. Really? Thank you. Yeah, but that's all that I did on this off stream. I promise that's all that happened off stream on this. Braid, you two guys, of all of the things you could do with your points, you're gonna save spree me while nothing has changed. Ay. What am I gonna do with you guys? But yes. So this is what we're going to be continuing with today. If we're lucky, we're going to finish it today. Thank you for the coffee. Coffee just arrived, yay. Look, I have 93k. I can spend them as wastefully as I want. You know what? Valid. Which reminds me, I still need to voice your line, which you sent me. I will do that as soon as I don't sound like I have... I don't know. I don't know. As soon as it doesn't sound like my head is about to blow up, I will do your voice line now that I remember it again. Thank you. Well, somehow that reminded me. It's because I know that I've got one channel redeemed that's a voice this line type thing. That's the expensive one. Oh yeah, I guess you also forgot about that again. Yeah, we have all forgotten about that one. So, oh dear. Hey, now I do have 20,000 points as well. Oh no, yeah, you guys have got way too many points. Why aren't you making me do push-ups? Seriously, why are you not making me do push-ups? It proves we know that all artists are forgetful. Yes, it is a vicious cycle. Yes. If it weren't for that eye in that that second eye in that, I would have read that as a viscous circle, and that would be, huh? Anyway, we continue. So, where are we actually at? So, this is where we were 10 years ago in the back of a plane at 30,000 feet somewhere. And we've still got to ink the hair and clean up the inks on the extracted lines on umbrella. Also, in about 24 hours, I have my final test, says Stale Toaster Glass. I will find out soon if I'm good enough to graduate. Ah! I wish you all the best on your test. I hope that it goes very well. I trust that you are studying what you need to the best of your ability. I anticipate that whatever it is that I anticipate that what you are doing is an expensive course, so I really hope that you don't need to redo a year. Watch streak reached! Yay! 3 streams streak! Woohoo! Yes! It's the only kind of streaking we enjoy around here. Thank you for being consistent, I appreciate it. Ah! Oh, okay. So, let me start, I think, with converting this to a color layer. There we go. Then what we're going to do is we are going to... I'm going to hide... Why have I got my temp text visible? That can go. That can be hidden. Bye-bye! I'm only at 60,000 points, so if we did do your exercise routine, you'd be doing them all stream with the sore body. Yes, but there's a 10-minute cooldown between each one. So... maybe when I am slightly healthier, potentially next week, we can see if you guys can do a full exercise stream of spamming me exercise redeems. We'll see. If you guys can keep me exercising for 2 hours on your point redeems, I will be impressed and mildly surprised. But no, considering that I want to do treadmill streams later on, I'm not going to complain if you guys give me exercise redeems. I literally put them there to be used. Please. Anyway, let me just get that out the way. Okay. So, I'm gonna collapse this for the moment because I'm not really looking at any of those references right this very second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by cleaning up our inks over here. That one goes away because I don't need it. What we're going to do is we're going to grab our... I think, which is the one that's got the pointies. Yes. No, we're going to use our line brush on one. Start. And just use that to close up a couple of gaps. There we go. Thankfully, I don't have to redraw the entire perimeter now. The line extraction did its job. Mostly. So we're just gonna clean up little bits at a time. Transfer that down. Okay. Nope. Really? There we go. Clean that. Come over here. Okay, so that's not effect on the layer below, that's fine. Up here. There's our corner. Nice. Gotcha. Gotcha. Close. Close. There we are. Now what I want to do is just like that. There we go. Just closing the gaps. Over there, cool. Pardon me. There we go. Next, and close. There we go. like such. Okay. Now we can finish up these curves around the hub. Whose technical name I don't actually know, but it's the sort of thing that ought to have an obscure name, because English be like that sometimes. Oddly specific about the strangest things. Alright, next one over here. Over here. Oh, hello there. There's one we missed. We're only going to pull you through to about here because we're not going to bother with anything that goes through the head. Alright, that will do the trick. Is that closed? I think I did close it. Yes, I did. Okay, so now it's just the handle here. Okay, that'll do the trick. Switch my inks brush soon. And by soon I mean immediately. Okay, almost there. No, rotate, rotate, come on. One elbow, smooth line, please. Almost had it. You know what? Good as I'm gonna get. Perfect is the enemy of good. So we can keep on moving. And you know what mistake I just made? I did all of that lining on the umbrella layer. It's fine. Why? Because I'm going to merge these two just now anyway. So we're all good, we're all good. Anyhow, how was everyone's weekend? Eat anything tasty? Do anything interesting? What were you guys up to? There we go. Pardon me, one moment, I just need to mute for a second. And I should be unmuted now. Okay. Pardon. Okay, so save button. That one is for Toaster the first. Okay. There we go. I'm gonna leave that one. with a little bit of space on it, just in case. Alright. And that is then going to require this to go. And this we reduce all the way down so that I don't get lost while looking at it. There we go. Quick sip of coffee, because I can, and that's right in front of me. Okay. And then let's start looking at inking on the hair. So, umbrella away. Or hide that for a bit. Call this one umbrella inks so that I don't get lost again. There we go. Hide those inks. Okay, let's do our hairlines. So for this one I'm going to use our pointy end brush, not our blunt one. I've used up until now for pretty much everything. Okay, there we go. Let me just do that. Okay, that will do the trick. And apply some corner detail over there, and clean up that point. And that one, like that. I'm suddenly doubting my choice of brush. Just a little bit. For these pilot lines. So far, so good. And I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch brushes. This one doesn't quite taper to nothing the same way the other one does. So for getting our foundational shapes in place, just a little bit more reliable. Okay. Now switch back to this one. Yeah, I'm going to stick with this one for now. Okay. Here we go. Slowly but certainly, the hair is coming together here. Aye, okay. And that's a hydrate timer. So, everyone, acquire your nearest safe for consumption beverages. And let's take a sip. That gave me a solid fright there. I knew it was coming, but I did not know exactly when. 3. Whew. All right. Now we reset, so... Next one. There we go. Okay. All right. Next piece. Yeah. Now this one is starting to get the curve at the back of the head in it. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get away with doing that in one stroke. But I can do better on the shape. That's a good shape. That one I'm going to keep. Hold that for a moment. Okay, slowly but certainly we are getting there. Alright, See, I'm not completely broken, I can still make funny noises. Which means we'll be just fine. Just fine come Thursday, I think. Because Thursday, the plan, anyway, or it was the plan before I woke up sick this morning, is that we are finally gonna do our Audacity songwriting Batsu from the Donathon. That is the plan for Thursday. Or at least starting that Batsu, because I anticipate that we're not going to be able to finish it in one sitting. It's going to break my brain, but I think it's going to be a little bit fun. Because for everyone who can't remember, the Batsu was to compose an original song entirely in Audacity. No dedicated musical instruments. The only things that are available to me are my voice and anything that I happen to have lying around my desk. One microphone, and Audacity. And figuring out if I want to get a specific sound, I might need to foley it out and figure out how to manipulate it into something in the editor. So it promises that it's going to be absolute chaos. Wondering if we will actually have something listenable at the end of it. If so, that would be kind of cool. It would certainly be a novel sort of process. Not the first time something like that would have been done, not by a long ways, because like the entire 60s and 70s happened, but it would definitely be an interesting thing to experience. That process. Yes. All right. Then over here. That corner. Okay. And everything that's happening here must go. Because it's all wrong. All of it. There we go. So far, so good. Right. That's the other thing that we still needed to do. We still needed to decide on how we were going to handle the pants. So that's still something that's got to happen. First, just deepen that corner like that. Okay. I might need to apply a little bit of additional chaos. There we go. Because this one does not exist, because that's the boundary between scarf. What is it? I'm not sure, but I think we need more scarf here. I think that's going to be the end of the scarf. There we go. Pardon me for another moment, please. Sorry. Okay, back, I think. Am I back? Audio mixer? I really need to find a better place for that. I really need to find a better place for that. This can live over there, and that can live in there. I think. And that can live in there. There we go. Okay. Yeah, okay. So we are almost there. I'm just gonna have a quick look. Reference. Pull this across. Pull this down. Sorry. Something is just happening in the background. One moment, please. What's happening here? I need to check that something's not going completely crazy. Okay, just got a notification on something that I need to fix over here. On one moment, please. One moment, please. Yeah. Switch that on. Okay. Okay. Someone was very excited about something. No, Teo, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. No stress. No stress. I apparently forgot to put streamer mode back on Discord. And I did not know that streamer mode shows you, or does not show... I don't know how streamer mode makes you look to other people on Discord, apparently. So I did the dumb, and apparently I was not able to... it was not possible for other folk to see that I was actually live. Whoopsie. Big whoopsie. Sorry for the confusion. Thank you for catching that. But you do not have to apologize, Teo. You absolutely do not have to apologize. You were not at fault here. When you're live, you usually have it on. It changes your status to purple play button with a direct link to your stream going above your bio. Ooh, so it only does that when you're in streamer mode. Okay. I thought it was just automatically linked to to one's streaming accounts. But apparently that is not the case. Interesting. Okay. I honestly just thought that that was an automatic thing. I didn't know that it was linked to having streamer mode enabled or disabled. But so we learn. So we learn. Because I was trying to screen record something earlier for reference, for a thing, and for that I turned off streamer mode because it was just getting in the way of stuff that I was doing in the background while I was I was screen recording that other page, and I apparently left everything just as is and never restored accordingly, because I've had OBS open literally the entire day, basically. Calixia, hello, hello. That name is so delicious to say out loud. Oh, welcome in, as I live and breathe. Well, thank goodness you're able to breathe. It's been an interesting one this day. Welcome in. How goes Uria? I woke up sick. But here we are. I'm doing good, aside from, you know, physical ailments. But yeah, otherwise good. How goes with you? I'm not sure what GWS means, but I understand the baby girl. Get well soon. Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. Yes. I lived under a rock. Remember? Well, for all practical purposes, remember my law is that I lost all of my memory relatively recently, and I'm still trying to figure things out. That is legit law. Background story is I don't internet the same way other people internet. Apparently. Couldn't help but notice, by the way. Yeah. We're back on the regular scheduling. We are on schedule version 3 this week. We're on version 3 this week. So how this is going to work is that we are in European time slot now for 2 hours today. And then we're in American time slot tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, we're in a weird one where we're supposed to be in American time slot, but we're starting at European time slot because we're probably going to need all 6 hours because we're doing catch-ups on our combat style analysis things that we have been neglecting since October. I am so sorry about that. The reanalysis fights are starting up again. So that is happening. And then on Thursday, again, we are back onto whatchamacallits. Let me just get over here, make sure it's the right one. It is this one. Open and show. And show. There we go. Yeah. So we are going to have the reanalysis fights, and that's going to be a long stream. We're probably only going to get through about another 10 entries. I think there were close to 30 of them. Yes. So a while ago, a good long while ago, we had an event where I asked people to submit their character designs for either their VTuber or an OC out of their original world or whatever. And based on their design alone, we do an analysis, like what you see in this radar graph over here, where we break down their quote-unquote stats according to how their design is put together. So looking at a whole bunch of different parameters, how they or how their design implies their fighting style. So that is the reanalysis fights, which you see in the hashtags there, combat style analysis. They're underneath the live and meme tags, which are wholly unused. If it's biological superpowers, that also gets accounted for. That also entirely gets accounted for. So there are a whole bunch of different categories. So let me pull up one of them. Let me just go over here. Pull up one of the stat wheels from someone. I'm gonna pick a random person. Random person stat wheel. Come on. I want to be here. Scroll down. Okay. I can't remember whose this was. I think it might have been Bread's. Possibly. I can't remember. Now I'm imagining Rhea with a Kevlar vest, wings in battle mode. Oh, I've actually got an armor suit. I've actually got a cannon armor uniform. But yeah, so I think this was Bread's analysis graph. Eldritch Bread. Yeah. But basically what it counts is a whole bunch of different parameters, and I see this one particular screenshot got cut because I was stupid and took the wrong one out of my screenshots folder. But it considers things like what your species is, and how that impacts your combat abilities, durability, obviously what it says on the box. Have you got scales? Have you got armor? Have you got none? Have you got something somewhere in between? Have you got scales and armor? Have you got magical shield abilities? All of those things. It takes those into consideration. Then this one that gets cut off is maneuverability, so how easily you can move. Brute force, so how much do you rely on power to win. Range is pretty self-explanatory. Actually, I'm going to need to get the different screenshot because this one is horrible. This one is the one that's not cut off. Yeah, okay. Adaptability is your ability to change your strategy in the middle of a combat situation, or make use of multiple combat strategies. Magic is pretty self-explanatory. Do you have any, and how powerful is it, and how important is it to you and your combat scenario? Stealth, also pretty self-explanatory. How quietly can you move? If you've got chainmail, probably not very quietly. If you are covered, quite literally, in bells, probably not very quietly. If you've got tight-fitting clothing with very few layers that's not going to rustle around, you're probably going to be a lot more stealthy. Stilettos are less stealthy than track shoes. Most of the time. Unless they've gotten wet, in which case they can get really squeaky. Then obviously weapons and ammunition. Do you have any? And how big are they? How much ammunition do you carry? Have you got enough of it? And then all of that ends up at gear alliance, which is, could you do battle even without your normal combat gear? So that looks at your overall build. It looks at if your design implies martial skills as opposed to just weapon skills. If you're a pilot and you get stranded outside of your mech, will you still be able to throw a punch? That's what all of this says, and this is what I analyze in the reanalysis fight. Things that we are going to be going through on Thursday. But yes, I do actually have a battle mode. It is one of the things that we're going to be doing in one of the upcoming Donathon goal fulfillments in the upcoming weeks, is that we're actually going to be doing some upgrades and updates to my model as well in between all of our other projects. I was contemplating whether I was going to draw an entirely new body base or not, and honestly it's easier to just import new parts onto my existing model and just export a version 1.6. I think I'm running 1.6 now, or running 1.5 now. So that is going to be all stuff that's going to be involved there. It's going to be the outfit toggles and all of the things. Upgrades, people, upgrades. Hello, Sai, welcome in. Yes, so that's the plan for Thursdays. We're going to finally start catching up with reanalysis fights. I only perceive myself being able to get through about 10 of them because I think each one took a half an hour last time to break down each character. Because we like going in depth and having a nice discussion about each one. And then, yes, on Thursday we are going to be doing our songwriting Batsu. And that's going to be back in the European time slots. So, yes. Wild week, but from next week, if we don't do the second batch of reanalysis fight catch-ups on the following Wednesday, then we will be doing the American time slots on both Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's all just got to do with changing up my sleep schedule, because I have, for the last I don't know how many months, only been getting 3 hours of sleep on a Friday, and that has not been working to transition back into only sleeping once a day over the week. And that has not been working. So by switching the long sleep day from a Friday to a Thursday, which is more viable for the rest of the household because less loud things happen on a Thursday, we should be able to find something a little bit more sustainable. So that is the reason for all of the scheduling changes. On top of wanting to generally just do more stuff that's original and keeping the commission grinding for offline work and maybe streaming in the Discord, like what happened today. We were streaming in the Discord channel, which was kind of cool. So yeah, we were working on Session's model in the Discord earlier. I think we spent like 4 hours, 5 if you include the little bit of time that I spent in BRB because I was having breakfast. And that's a hydrate. So once again, everyone, acquire your nearest safe for consumption beverages, and let's take a sip. And yes, that is how things are panning out at present. Lots and lots of little tweaks and changes. So yeah, I don't feel like I need to prove anymore that, yes, I do not do generative AI for my commissions. Like, I think there's enough track record on my VODs to now prove that, no, I do it manually. But yes, time to consume beverage indeed. The coffee is now cold. The coffee is now cold. Oh. But we persist. But yeah, so I am now going to rather try and spend my streaming time focusing on original content that isn't just being like a commission factory. I've got other hours in the day that I can spend on that side of my day job, right? So we can do, you know, other fun things in our stream time, which might be shorter streams in general, overall, potentially, because we're not doing full day job grinds. But it gives us the opportunity to experiment a little bit more as well, which is also nice. So, yeah. The coffee is cold. Why go on? Because the next cup is coming. The next cup is coming. Sigh. We hold on to that hope. Hold on to your mug, Sigh. The next cup is coming. Which reminds me, time to reset the timer. There we go. And with that, we continue our art challenge. We were working on finalizing the last of the inks on KAITO over here. So, let's just do this. What I want to do is I want to... Wait. a regular line going here, and then split these in half. Like that. Okay. And then this goes horizontal, not angular. Okay, that'll go just like that. Cool. And now we finish up with our inks over here. Just take that down to like 6. Good. So we can just barely see it. Nice. I'm not going to try and put line or inked corners in there. Okay. I feel like I need to make some refinements to where the arm stand is connected to my desk for my graphics tablet. I've been thinking it for a couple of days now, but I think I am starting to reach the end of my patience on that front. It shall happen in the run of tomorrow morning. Which is a biphasal sleep cycle day. So I am going to get a little bit of sleep, not much. Or rather, I'm going to get some sleep for today at the end of this stream. And then I'm going to be awake for 3 hours. Then I'm going to go kip again for another little bit. And then after that, I am going to be awake for a long stretch until after stream. Which is going to be at 3 in the morning in my time zone. From like 3 and 5 until 5 in the morning in my time. Which is why I'm not doing the musical batsu in American time. Because I don't know how loud I'm going to need to be. I don't know how loud I'm going to need to be, and therefore I do not want to potentially be loud at between 3 and 5 in the morning, and then everyone, both in the house and beyond, wants to hang me up by my earlobes. For waking them up with the unholy racket that is likely to ensue. Okay, so we continue on. I feel like this is actually too broad still on this, so I'm gonna come and redo that. Okay. That'll work. Although, what I'm going to do is this. Where is my hard round? That's good. Choose white. Okay, I know how I'm going to handle this layer. There we go. There we go. Okay. That will do the trick. Right, now this is going to live above the floor, and this is going to be belt detail, lock opacity. Let's grab that color and here fill. There we go. Just in anticipation, this can get merged down, and then lastly over here, that part of the scarf. Okay. So that should, theoretically, be everything. Hide sketch. Yes. Okay, so now what we can do is we can come over here, come back into our umbrella, and carve out the bits that we don't need. Like that. Good. There we go. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. It still stings a little bit that we are just about at the 4-hour marker on this canvas. Actually, we are on the 4-hour marker on this canvas, and at least an hour of it was just fighting with the old umbrella. That stings a little bit. But okay, we are there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hide the umbrella a bit, and we are going to grab our base blue over here, and we are going to grab that, just close that gap, which ought to be the single gap on this entire thing. Then we're going to go grab outside. Yeah, okay. Invert selection, fill. Okay, now let's just do a little bit of cleanup. Because this choice of brush meant that the hair was vulnerable to exactly this. Okay, so we've now got our base fill. Okay, then the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to am I going to separate all the flats by material, or am I going to just do hair, skin, clothes? I think I'm just going to do the 3-layer hair, skin, clothes. Okay, so flats 1, 2, 3, skin, hair, clothes. Okay, now KAITO over here is really pale, like a value of 100% and a saturation of 9%, which is basically barely not white. So we're going to use that. Lumen, that's very pale. Okay. Phew, okay. Now, when the inks come back, now we see that there is something missing. Like that, okay. Just like that. Now we grab our blue again, which I'm pretty sure our base blue is going to be that one, not this gorgeous loud cobalt. Which makes sense because CMYK is a thing that they needed to be mindful of when doing the character designs, because print media is a thing quite extensively for the PFO characters. Okay. New base VA, hello, hello, welcome in. How are you doing? Sorry, I was locked in a little bit trying to see tiny bits. Doing good, that's fantastic news. Glad to have you joining us today. We are almost there with finishing doing the flats on Kaito's hair here. Yeah. Phoenix, hello, welcome in. Yo. Clean up these edges because goodness gracious, that got messy very quickly. Wow. Was on the wrong account. Ah, I see. Okay. If you hadn't said anything, we would have never been any the wiser. But it's okay. No. There we go. Almost got the hair flattened out. We are tangibly close. Okay. Now it's just the eyebrows. And then we can move on to flatting out clothing. Okay, okay, so that covers our skin and hair. Cool. So next is going to be clothing. And I'm going to start with the scarf. Why? Because it is right here and ready for us. Just like that. And like that. And if I'm not mistaken, that is the same as the jacket trim. Yes, it is. Which I am missing lines for, I see, because... Wow, okay. We're gonna need to correct that, okay. Invert. Come on. There we go. That's that side. Now here, we're gonna need to. Please don't sneeze, please don't sneeze. The need to sneeze is driving me insane. One moment, please. Yeah. Okay, did not need to subject you guys to that. Okay. Whew. We return. There we go. That will work. I'm going to grab this for the interior. For now. I'm going to grab actual white for the interior. And then slightly off-white for the exterior. Because I think I want this to actually be backlit. Or should I just grab this slightly off-white either which way? I think I can do that. You know what? Slightly off-white. I can always correct it with lighting. Want to do. Right there, go. Okay, like that. Come back up here. And we keep throwing in the correct chunks. So, here we go. Did you notice your model tracking has died? Has it? I think it was just locked in. Whoopsie. It just looked like I had frozen because my face was deathly still for a bit. Whoopsie. Anyway, that was a hydrate. So everyone, acquire your nearest safe for consumption beverages, and let's take a sip. That was pre-sip, by the way. Water. And timer. And this one is going to be the last one for the day. Okay. So, whatever we do, we have to speed this up by orders of magnitude. Your blush looks so cute, thank you. It's legitimately only on because of the sick right now, but it's working. Oh, I'm glad you like my blushies. I almost never use them, so. What's your secret to falling asleep, by the way? If only I could fall asleep. It's legitimately something that I struggle with so much. Like, you're literally just caught out. One of the greatest things that I struggle with is actually falling asleep. I have yet to figure out something that works for me. Because, like, normal auditory sleep aids, I can't really use because I don't have an appropriate set of audio gear for that. So my normal headphones and stuff just hurt like crazy when I try to use those, so I can't sleep with those in. But yeah, I legitimately, I spend way too much time at the end of every day consciously aware of how I'm not sleeping yet. It's a nightmare for me. Ironically, I sleep most readily in the back of a moving vehicle. Like, put me in the passenger seat of any moving vehicle and I will be lights out in less than a half an hour. Sometimes less than 10 minutes, depending on how much time has persisted between waking up and getting in said moving vehicle. But generally, being in a vehicle, whether it's a car, a plane, a boat, it does not matter. I've never been in a train before, so I can't comment on that. But I struggle to fall asleep as well. It sucks. Now I do the toxic thing, which is to get up and go do something if I can't sleep. But it's not necessarily toxic, it's just inconvenient if you have to conform with your own time zone's way of doing things. I think the temperature might play a role in putting you to sleep. Cold is ideal. Oh, I was actually doing some reading about temperature and sleep a couple of days ago, actually. It needs to be a good balance of cool without making you cold. Because what happens if you overheat is that your body is in a heightened metabolic and stress mode. So you have these weird pre-sleep dreams which I struggle with so badly. And you're aware that nonsense of the highest order is going on between your ears. And yet, pay attention to it for a fraction of a second, and you proceed to wake up, knowing that you have not slept. It drives me insane. But at the same time, I've got very, very poor blood circulation. So for me, if I get even a little bit too cold, I legitimately start freezing. Like, temperatures that would put other people in a comfortable zone, I can very, very, very easily overheat. And that's also very inconvenient. So my thermal Goldilocks zone for nappability is very, very small. Unless I'm in the back of a moving vehicle. Then you're going to have a really hard time keeping me awake. Especially if I'm cool. If I am cool or cold in the back of a moving vehicle, I guarantee you I am hibernating. Okay. Okay. All trustworthy. Take everything outside. Invert. Oh. Undo. Okay. Now we come back over here. Grab our metal color again. Okay. So, flats are mostly there. What are we still missing? What are we still missing? We are missing these two metal tabs. Like that, okay. And I'm missing handle. I need to empty those patches. I need to empty that patch. There we go. And I need to add these two clips. And they are located around here. These things look like they're piano keys, I think. Yeah, those are designed after piano keys. that shape. That's definitely a piano key. Okay, that works. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat, because why? I can copy, paste. Okay. That works. Apply. There we go. There we go. Almost there. Something like that. There's the gap. You know what? Why didn't I just do this? Invert. Cool. select everything outside here. Begone with you. Okay. And for all practical purposes, reduce that down. Okay. Save button. Save button. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to take this and we're going to go black, full, so that if there are any gaps, they get filled with black. And then we're going to go flip a linear bin, grab our normal shading color, and we are going to start laying in some normal shade. Okay. In all of the normal ways and all of the normal places. Except I am not going to have skin and hair in there. I want those out of that folder. Invert selection, delete. Okay. So let's start with this. We're going to have this entire section in at least one layer of shade. Why? Because it is going to have light getting trapped in there. Same over here. Going to have light getting trapped in there. I'm just going to do the trick here. So Shian, welcome back. Whew. for those of you who have even a fraction of a possible familiarity with this character, do you have a favorite song featuring him? Or at least one that you find yourself liking enough to return to it every so often. What was that? I wasn't listening. I'm saying, if you know KAITO, do you have a favorite song featuring him? Or one that you like enough to revisit every now and then? More so than others. Cover or original? I've never heard of KAITO till today. Oh my, okay. So, fun fact, this guy belongs to the same corporation as Hatsune Miku. So, he is one of the cast of theatre characters alongside Hatsune Miku. He was initially released as a Vocaloid way back in, I think, what was it, 2013? No, it was earlier than that. I've got my dates confused. Don't trust me when it comes to timelines on anything. He was around for a while. He was initially actually a flop in the marketplace because people weren't really ready for male synthetic vocalists yet. But since, he's actually been incredibly well received. Still not as widely used as I wish, honestly. But as far as vocal synths go, he did definitely pave the way for a great many others. Other than Miku, I don't know any other Vocaloids. There were a lot of Vocaloids in peak season of the software. After the release of Vocaloid 5, as in the editor 5, a lot of the voice banks migrated to different synthesizer platforms, and there were a lot of them. There are to date a lot of synthesizer programs now that a lot of the original Vocaloid characters have moved to. But of the original Vocaloids, of Vocaloids themselves, there are quite a couple. And of other voice synths, before we consider the open source voice synths on Utau and Open Utau, there are so many. So many. And some of them are really, really good as far as vocal synths go. Now, I have no issues with vocal synthesizers because I consider them literally just another instrument, which is how they are intended to be used. And that's a hydrate. So everyone, let us all quickly acquire our nearest safe consumption beverage and take a sip. Because like any other instrument, they kind of need to be quote-unquote played manually. So Vocaloids have this thing that they have to go through called tuning, which is the act of actually putting the notes and lyrics on and doing all of the tone editing black magic to get them to actually sound like singers. But they've always got this somewhat electronic sound. Later generations are trying to get it to sound more realistic, but the people who are actually using the synths are actually trying to specifically not sound more realistic, because if they wanted to actually have human sounding vocalists, there's no shortage of humans who they could, would, and otherwise have no reason not to either hire, ask, or quite simply do it themselves. If they wanted to, if a songwriter wanted to get a human sound. But the vocal synths are especially good for electronic music. And getting that synthetic sound without needing to process an actual human voice to death. Because getting a human voice to sound robotic is much more challenging than getting a robot voice to sound robotic. Also, the voice synths that are used commercially have all got their voices provided by people who have consented to having their voices used in that way. So there's that little detail. They've been paid for it. I actually own a couple of Vocaloids myself, but I don't currently have... Do I currently have the editor? I suffered a computer crash a couple of years ago that completely threw away all of my software. And for the longest time, I did not have access to the installation files for all of my Vocaloids, and I'd spent years collecting a couple of them. So I was very angry for a very, very long time, until a friend of mine graciously let me get access to the install files again, because it had been too many years since I had purchased things, and storefronts had changed like 2 or 3 times, and there was no way to recover the installation files, even though I had the license keys. It was crazy. I kid you not, having lost the access to my Vocaloids was a major damper on my learning to actually create music. because it had been my intention for the longest time. Easily since high school days. So, yeah, let's just say that Thursday's Batsu is a first step towards some long-standing creative ambitions. I'm just playing on hard mode to start with, because if I don't do that, it's not me, right? Giving myself huge limitations like that. Okay. Over here. That is going to do the trick there. Okay, so we're going to need another session on this, or I'm going to work on this over the weekend. One of the two. But I'm going to need to call it a night here, otherwise I am going to have a very, very difficult tomorrow. So, what's the day look like tomorrow? Oh, wait. Can I afford... I can afford another half an hour. We'll be okay. When this timer goes off, then we have to call it. Call the day. So let's see how much of this trading we can get done in that time. I'm giving up on this one being a fast one. We're already at 5 hours on this piece. It does not look like a 5-hour piece. Sure. But I'm being a little bit more pedantic with it than I would if I were working on a comic page. So all balances out in the end. Okay, move that back there. Okay, almost there. Oi. Come on, Harrier, hold in there, hold in there. Save button. There we go. I still did not recover the handle. That'll work. Okay. And let's reduce that to 40. Okay. Add another one. This one's also going to be a linear burn. This one is going to be more general. Okay, that works. This one I want to be the general pass. Something like that. I don't like that piece of line there. Okay. Ba-bam, 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 ba-bam. Okay. Sorry, I need to mute. Sorry about that. Okay. We keep at it. Okay, that works, I think. For now. Let me think. I do definitely want a backlit lighting scenario, but a high backlight. And a soft backlight. I don't really want this to be too aggressive in the lighting. So let's start with a little bit of late afternoon sun. I think that's a good place to start. Slightly onto the red side. Okay. Let's grab that. Create a new layer on top. Dial that saturation up. Dial that hue slightly more to the red. And fill. And let's grow soft light. Reduce that opacity ever so slightly. Okay. We're just getting the basis of our lighting scenario in place. And then on top of that, we're going to have our background layers. And what we want is a bit of that vibrant bright almost polarized light that comes with a late afternoon shower, where the edge of the cloud hangs right near where you're standing. Hard light is definitely not it. Okay. Then what we want to do is we want to apply the tiniest, fluffiest bit of grey, lightly and loosely up here. To give us a sense of a little bit of atmosphere. We're at the edge of the cloud, so it'll be a bit in silhouette against what is still a bit of bright sunlight. And this is going to be a translucent umbrella, so I am actually going to see a little bit of that change in atmospheric texture. Okay, and then we're going to grab white, and we're going to grab a droplet brush. We're going to make it huge, and we're going to reduce our particle size down. And we're going to go filter, blur, motion blur. Strength up, direction 85, okay, add glow so that we can see those just a little bit more. There we go. Very, very subtle in the background. Okay. And then what we're going to do, we're going to make this that will work like that. We're starting to get the foundations down. The last layer of linear burn, we're just going to grab this. It would help if I had the right airbrush. I don't think that's the right one. Just doesn't want to be at full opacity. Okay, getting there, getting there. Now what I want to do is I want to create a test to check our values. Now here we can see that there's still quite a bit of work to be done. The dark around the face is drawing attention. Dark around the hand is drawing attention. This is carrying too much weight. So we need to do something to lighten up the lower torso here in terms of our environmental lighting. And the easiest way to do that is going to be to add some cheat lens flare, I think. So not glow dodge, add glow. Might need to drop that. Just tone that contrast down. Okay. This is a very bright primary sense. So we want the focal point to actually be the darkest point here. Otherwise, it's not going to draw any attention. And that means that the darkest point is going to be here around the face. And a little bit here around the hand, but we primarily want it to be face, hand, and then hand holding the umbrella, which leads it back up to the face. So that's sort of a triangle. Okay, now we go to our skin, lock it, grab our skin shading color, and now we're going to do some very default anime skin shading. Doing the whole half face thing. There we go. Okay. And that is our timer, which means it is time to call it a day, guys. We have not managed to finish, but we have made good progress from where we were. Okay. We've not managed to finish, but we have made good progress. I'm happy. I'm happy. I think one more session at this and we will be able to call it done. So I do not know if that session will happen over the weekend or next week, but we'll figure it out. We got things done. Yay. And that with a massive detour in the middle where we were talking about the reanalysis fight. So you know what? All things considered, this ain't too shabby. Well, I know right now that shading in his mouth makes him look like he's got lipstick on, but we'll ignore that for now. We'll ignore that for now. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll ignore that for now. Alright, let us head over here. And I still had that on. Whoopsie. There we go. So yeah, we spoke about schedule this week and what is going on. So tomorrow, I will be doing some ref sheet work on Cherith. Now, Cherith is one of my teammates in Fort Misthaven, and I'm really looking forward to being able to introduce you to her properly. I am gonna put a little bit of work in the daytime to get her base sorted, because I do not necessarily want to do the entire reference sheet from scratch on stream. So I'm gonna do a little bit of prep work, get her base down, and then we'll probably just do the coloring of whatever I've managed to get done in the day. I will do that in stream on tomorrow's night. That will be in the American time zone, so that's going to be late. But I hope that I shall see you guys there. So yeah, if you are in the European time zones or further east, it is already going to be Wednesday by the time we next stream, and it will be the wee hours if you're in Europe, or it will be well into the morning if you're in Australia or East Asia. So yeah, it's gonna be later than what we are used to here, but it's also going to be approximately 2 hours. I might decide to shift it a little bit earlier. If I do, I will let you guys know, just so that I can get the extra hour in. I will let you guys know. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to make any promises right now. It all depends on what my physical condition looks like in the next 24-hour cycle. So, thank you guys so much for being here. I really, 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 really appreciate it. I think this was my first time actually using a VTube Studio asset. Like as not a redeem, not a thing that's part of an automated reminder, but actually just like a I'm gonna be using a thing today, and it's just gonna be sitting there, and we're gonna be cozy. I shall start a collection of things that we can use to make our coziness more cozy. But that will be, or not while I am sick. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Rest well when you get to it. We are going to be meeting Cherith. If you look at the thumbnail on the YouTube waiting room, you might glean some sneak preview information about who we are going to be working with tomorrow. So, if you're interested, check out the thumbnail. And please also like the video while you're at it. It helps me a lot. Please and thank you. Because we are actually still considering YouTube our primary platform, and we're trying to get somewhere there. I had designs on doing vocal recording work this week, but being sick suddenly threw all of that ideas into the deepest, darkest abyss. I shall instead do my best to recover as swiftly as possible. I think that's the best thing I can say at this point, because I could promise to do more work, but I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't think it's necessarily the best idea to say on day one of being sick, as I promise to do even more work and not rest. And what does a sick body need is rest. So we will balance things appropriately. I promise I'm not gonna overdo things. I'm in charge of cooking tomorrow. Oh dear. I'm going to need to cook with a mask on to make sure that I don't get my brother sick. Okay, yeah, that just struck me like a ton of bricks. Okay. Fun. That's a thought. Ooh. Perhaps considering that the Tuesday and Wednesday streams are going to be in the latest slots, that would indicate that those 2 days are our 2 potential days for future cooking streams, because I'm in charge of cooking on those nights. Scheming. Okay, that's that plan in my head solidified for now. Check. Ready for when the tech is ready. Well, okay. I have, I think, said everything. We did speak about the schedule quite extensively. Is there anything of critical importance that I'm missing? I don't think so. Yeah, nothing that I can say out loud right this very moment. Okay, so I will see you all tomorrow. Rest well when you get to it. Thank you guys so much for being here. I am not gonna raid on Twitch. So if you are there, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. For anyone who's been lurking, thank you. You guys are champions. VOD Squad, your MVPs as well. I really appreciate everyone who stops by. And yes. We fight on, we persist, despite every challenge that comes our way. So, until next time, everyone, cheery bye!